You pull out your wallet in Mexico and suddenly you're rich. $50 becomes almost 1,000 pesos, and for exactly 1 second, you feel like you've cracked the system. You haven't. But something real just happened. Every country has its own currency. That part you know. What most people don't know is why one of them buys more than another. Why a dollar gets you more in some places and almost nothing in others. Why some currencies are basically expensive paper and others run the entire global economy. It starts with a simple question. Why does money have value at all? The answer used to be gold. Every dollar printed was backed by actual gold sitting in a vault. You could theoretically walk into a bank and exchange your dollars for gold. Almost nobody did this, but the option existed, and that gave the currency weight. Real physical metal. Very shiny. Very limited. Then in 1971, Nixon ended all of that. America had been spending heavily. Inflation was rising. Other countries started actually asking for their gold back, and Nixon said no, just no. The gold standard ended on a Sunday evening in a 15-minute TV address, and nobody voted on it. You just woke up Monday and money was now backed by nothing except the general agreement that it was. That general agreement is called trust. And trust is the entire foundation of modern currency. Every single one of them. So what makes people trust one currency more than another? The first thing is stability. If a government keeps changing leadership through force or has a habit of printing money whenever it needs more, investors notice, capital is cowardly. It moves toward the safest exit at the first sign of trouble. Countries with stable governments and consistent economic policy attract money. Countries without those things watch their currency lose value because everyone is slowly deciding they'd rather hold something else. The second thing is inflation. When a country prints too much money, each unit of that money buys less. More dollars chasing the same amount of stuff means each dollar is worth less. Countries that keep inflation low have stronger currencies. Countries that lose control of it end up with people carrying cash in wheelbarrows. That actually happened. Germany in the 1920s, Zimbabwe in the 2000s, Venezuela not long ago. When governments print money to pay their debts instead of fixing their finances, the currency pays the price. Literally. The third thing is interest rates. When a country raises interest rates, holding money there pays you more. Investors from everywhere move their money there to earn better returns. That increased demand for the currency makes it more valuable. When rates drop, money flows out looking for better returns elsewhere. The Federal Reserve sets rates for the US, and when Jerome Powell speaks, currency markets around the world move. Every word, no pressure, Jerome. Then there's trade. If the world wants to buy American products, they need dollars to do it. High demand for American exports means high demand for dollars. Countries that export more than they import tend to have stronger currencies. Countries that import more than they export are essentially sending their currency abroad and getting goods back. Over time, that weakens the currency. The trade balance matters more than most people realize. And then there's the thing that gives the dollar its real superpower: reserve currency status. Most of global trade, oil especially, is priced in dollars. Not because America demanded it, though America did benefit enormously from it. Because after World War II, America was the largest economy with the most stable government, and everyone agreed to use the dollar as the global baseline. This was formalized in the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944. 44 countries sat in a hotel in New Hampshire and basically decided the dollar would run the world. The dollar has held that position ever since. What this means practically is that every country on Earth needs to hold dollars in reserve, to trade oil, to pay international debts, to stabilize their own currency. That constant global demand keeps the dollar strong regardless of what's happening inside America's economy. It's the most valuable accident in financial history. So when you look at an exchange rate, you're not looking at one number. You're looking at the combined judgment of every investor, trader, central bank, and government on Earth about how much they trust that country's economy, inflation rate, interest rates, trade balance, and long-term stability. All of it compressed into a single number that updates every second. The peso isn't weaker than the dollar because Mexico is a bad country. It's weaker because of decades of higher inflation, political instability at various points, and lower demand for pesos in global trade. The dollar isn't stronger because Americans are better at anything. It's stronger because of a hotel meeting in 1944 and 70 years of institutional momentum. So next time you feel rich in another country, you're not experiencing generosity. You're experiencing accumulated history, monetary policy, and global trust expressed through an exchange rate. And the second any of that shifts, so does the number, every single day.